Literally everyone in town showed up for the funeral. Traffic was snarled for miles because the demand for nearby access was exhausted. Eventually, the massive crowd had no choice but to park on the side of the road and walk to their destination. The caravan of people en route to the gravesite stretched as far as the eye could see. If you were a stranger to the tiny town of Sawyerville, you might have thought the carnival-like atmosphere was in reverence to a rock star or highly acclaimed film actor who'd passed away. It wasn't. Outside the local community, the deceased was unknown. As with any spectacle of that magnitude, it drew uninformed onlookers from out of town, simply passing through. These looky-loos grew curious about what was going on to cause such a stir. Like curious sheep following a butcher, they also abandoned their cars and followed the morbid procession to the interment site. This secondary group of rubberneckers wanted to know who died, but had no luck bluntly asking the townspeople. They were too focused on marching to Forest Glen Memorial Gardens to answer. At the cemetery, the restless mob was so densely packed, it wasn't possible to get within 100 yards of the coffin. The security detail did their best to manage the onlookers, but it was like trying to comb beach sand with a rake. As miserable as they all were sequestered on the hillside, none would have wanted to be anyplace else when they put the dead man in the ground. The outsiders grew impatient about what was going on and were bewildered by the lack of transparency by the hypnotized crowd. At that moment, the lid was closed and the coffin was slowly lowered into the ground. A collective gasp escaped 1,000 lips, then the annoying beep of an industrial truck began to blare as it carefully backed into the crowd. Even then, the stoic onlookers parted just enough to grant access to the burial site. None of the out-of-towners could fathom why a concrete truck would be anywhere near a cemetery, especially during an active service. However, it was clear soon enough what it was about to do. The why was the $64,000 question. To great fanfare and exultation, the truck began to pour tons of concrete directly into the burial plot until the level reached the outer rim. A chorus of excited shouts and cheers rang out through the valley. As if that wasn't baffling enough for the strangers witnessing the incredibly bizarre reaction, a corresponding wave of collective relief also seemed to circulate among the celebrating locals. There was definitely something which didn't meet the eye, but to the visitors, it was pure madness. "Is he really dead?" one spectator overheard. Another local declared, "Thank God his reign of terror and darkness is finally over. Even he couldn't crawl back up through all that cement. I thought the day would never come. We're finally free."